what is the function of projection? We know the function of the pain body. We know the function of the ego. We even see the results of the mirror, seeing our subconscious self through another person. But what is projection?
I love this topic, by the way.
It's amazing.
I can't wait.
Right. So we project our subconscious self onto somebody else unconsciously. When we grow up in a family or in a culture or a tribe, a friendship, we find out that maybe there are certain traits of us that our family doesn't accept. So we start rejecting those things. And we find out in our family things that are accepted. So we start embracing these aspects of our traits, right? So we're starting to split ourselves into traits that are, and aspects that are unacceptable and aspects and traits that are acceptable. We're splitting. The aspects that we want of ourselves and that we embrace become our conscious. The traits that are unacceptable and rejected become our subconscious. They're still there, but we hide them, right?
I'm following.
We hide them.
Right.
You could say our identity of accepted values that we embrace is our ego, where our self that is rejected and unaccepted is our shadow. So what is projection? Projection is the ability for our ego to use that energy to push our negative traits onto somebody else, so we still can have it in our lives, but not take responsibility of it.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the projection in the mirror, the projection is our subconscious showing us the part of ourselves that we don't like without taking ownership of it.
The mirror is perfect, right? Whether it's a person, whether it's an actual mirror, whatever it is, right? It's sending back both waveforms directly to you. You see it, and you see it, and that's why it hurts. Like when someone mirrors you, like holy crap.
The only way we are able to feel it is by seeing it on other people, because that's the trick. Is our ego? Yeah. Our ego has been able to very well hide our rejected, suppressed attributes that weren't acceptable, that we have suppressed. The only way we're able to see those and feel those is through projection onto other people.
Right.
Because we refuse to see those parts about ourselves. This is why.
Is this why they say like hope and despair is nearly identical?
Right.
There's that projection that's coming out, right? Those are the mechanisms of it. Hope and despair, that's the manifestation of it in its waveform. And then the mirror brings it back, you take it, you collapse it, and you're like, man, I don't like my mirror.
Well, as he was saying before about the infant is generally love compared to adults, because an adult takes in more light and takes in more despair and takes in more sorrow, takes in more of this and that. And so therefore it is making it to where it's less, you're getting less of the love.
When we're born whole of self and pure, then sin kicks in, our thinking mind, and we are nurtured into making decisions on what we find acceptable and unacceptable to become part of a tribe, part of a family, part of a group of friends, part of a relationship. We choose what attributes about us are we should suppress and deny, and which attributes we should express. You know,
conscious neurons have their little gutters.
Right, based on our need for society survival.
Right.
We start dictating our identity through separation, and we're suppressing what we're denying, which is still there, our shadow, and we're expressing what we accept, which is now our ego and identity. So we start as individuals trying to find this stuff that fill us up that's empty, but we're not looking within ourselves.
Okay.
This is where vibrational congruency goes, because we are still destined to lock into the vibrations. That's why we pick spouses and friendships that are opposites of us.
Well, yes.
Because we are finding we are filling this hole needed, but not through acknowledging our subconscious holds on to it, but for projecting that onto somebody else. And we're finding our opposite because they're meeting our wavelength, and we are loving this opposite part of them without acknowledging that we are that opposite.
I completely agree.
Opposites attract, because we are mending the whole.
I think it would be more like this,
Yes.
like DNA. So you
Sure.
see the opposite through
Sure.
the other
I think there's
strand.
at least a double helix
And then,
going.
yeah,
Really
and,
double
you-
Spirals,
and,
we're doing-
you congruent at points.
right?
There's sometimes where you see eye to eye and a lot of things. That's what brings you together. And at the same time, you also see the other side.
You have to have that mirror. You have to
Yeah.
have that mirror.
We recognize and see within other people the thing that we have rejected and denied within ourselves.
Mm.
And that can go negatively or positively because we can sense a negative attribute as something is wrong and we reject it. That's when we start judging. When we have suppressed a negative attribute within ourselves that we find negative,
Right.
like anger or something like that, we will project. When we are triggered and project that anger on somebody else, we will judge and reject you. Get away from me.
Yeah.
Get away. You're too angry right now. Get away from me. It's triggering me. But we're forgetting that anger is a part of us
Our
too.
subconscious
Right.
that we hate.
It happens with positive attributes too. When we see positive attributes that we have suppressed within ourselves, it's usually we're seeing and envying things out of somebody that we have subconsciously said we are not good at, that we are unable to do. These suppressed positive attributes. So maybe
I love that. The
maybe
ending,
when
right?
you're growing up, your parents said, "Get your head in the books, keep your head out of the clouds." So
Mm.
you stop being a very imaginative person. So now that's a positive attribute. You envy over some of these creative minds you see.
You're right. You are so
Because
right.
subconsciously
Yes.
you're not good enough.
Why do you get to
Right.
not do what
I
I did?
envy that. And that's where love comes from. Your body needs to feel these emotions that we have suppressed of putting your heads in the clouds, creative. We need to feel that. And all we're going to feel it is through the strength of what people would say, I love this about you.
Attractive love is validation
Yeah.
for your subconscious.
Yes.
Right.
I love this about you. Oh, I love how you're so good with people. I love how kind you are to people. These are the things that
You want yourself.
You are projecting
Yes.
and bouncing it off that mirror.
right.
Absolutely.
Right, and then when we start projecting, we will see that if we don't accept it, we will find that being in time. We'll probably find that being a very negative thing in you because I can't do it. So the thing is seeing your own projection. Who cares about it? I see you projecting. I could tell you, but you're just going to defend
It
it.
may feel satisfying to say that that's projection.
It is sad, but that's just
Well,
It's
But that's all it
projecting
is.
in its own right.
Yeah, no, but it's
Yeah,
just
it's
like
projecting in its own right.
It's just
Exactly.
projecting it.
So
No,
when
you're
you,
right.
ooh, good point.
it's psychological
Good point.
masturbation.
Good point. So
Yeah.
so to say you're projecting, you're right. You're projecting your projection. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
when you should stop, right? The ego has maintained the subconscious to be invisible to us, to ourselves.
Mm.
But everybody around us can see. Projection is so sophisticated. The subconscious and conscious work so hand in hand opposite that y'all can see an aggression in me that I only project on y'all. I will never see myself. That's projection. That's why when people tell you the same thing all the time from different people and you don't see it, it's probably true. You just can't see it.
Right.
It's impossible for you to see until you are aware of it yourself, I guess. And that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Is being
We're
aware.
being told all the time, brick wall, brick wall,
Yeah,
brick
yeah,
wall.
yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It's always about competition. It's always about competition. But if you don't see it, you're going to see that everybody else is competing against you, which makes you need to compete. But you never understand why you see people competing for you to need to compete in the first place.
Right.
It's because you see them as always having to be right. What's the law of projection say?
Yeah.
That you always have to be right.
Yes.
So now you're seeing that they always have to be right. Now you have to prove them wrong because that's your projection.
Right.
Right.
Good.
I love it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Let's stop it for now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I need to grab a refreshment.
Yeah.